Hi, are you sick and tired of paying hundreds of dollars a month for cable or dish? GNR TV is your answer. These guys have an incredible 100% legal product that is a cord cutter's dream. For as low as $25 a month, you will get over 400 HD channels, including all major sports packages, pay per views, premium movies, and entertainment. To get started, all you need is a streaming device, such as an Amazon Fire Stick, internet, and a desire to save a ton of cash. No contracts, no credit checks, no hidden fees. I myself have been a subscriber, and I must say this service is amazing. To learn more, search GNR TV on Facebook or Instagram, and I will also be posting a link on my pages to check out on my podcast website. Lastly, for first-time subscribers, use promo code SIR30 to save $5 for your first month. GNR TV, streaming done right.
Let's get slicing and dicing with Sir Sturdy horror fans. On this podcast, you will hear me and a guest do some movie reviews, random funny horror chats, and whatever else comes to mind. So tune in, kick back, relax, and always remember, I'll see you in your nightmares.
Well, just Jason's mask.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another awesome, exciting episode of Horror with Sir Sturdy. Today I have my great guest with me, Chelsea. Chelsea, how you doing?
Hey, suppity, America.
How's it going, though? How is everything?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing really good, actually. I'm glad we got
That's
to do
good.
this podcast today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. My whole childhood and even nowadays, I love to tape record myself on cassette tapes. And when I was little, even now, I always pretended like I was on a radio show. And so it's really cool that I'm having these films come out now and people are inviting me to come on their shows. I'm like, hey, that's cool. I literally have I have this red little box, and I have a collection of cassette tapes in there ever since I was 5, of me pretending like I was on a radio show. So it's really funny that these things that I have multiple experiences like this, things that I pretended to do as a child, I'm actually doing now as an actor. So it's really cool. Acting is it's a really cool occupation.
That's actually really amazing, because you don't even think that you're gonna get the opportunity to do any of that stuff. You're just doing it as a kid to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. When I was 5, I wrote this little series of skits, and I said it was my movie or whatever, and it was called Tile Tile. And I was like, one day I'm gonna star in this movie called Tile Tile, and I made myself a princess, and I had this pink dress on, and I'm gonna be in this movie called Tile Tile. And then recently I shot a movie where I was the prophesied queen of this magical land, and so we actually shot at a castle, and I got to wear, they put me in this long pink dress, and I was walking around this castle pretending to be a princess, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my 5-year-old movie. I'm actually in this now. It's really strange. I've had several experiences like that now. It's really, really weird. And I went in my old musical theater academy that I used to go to when I was little. I was just in the area, so I went in there recently, and it was so trippy, man, because I went in there, and I went in the same places and looked in the same mirrors that I used to when I was 11 and took classes at this place. And it was so weird because when I was 11, I went to this little musical theater class, and I'd look in the mirror and see myself older and in films and stuff like that. And now I'm in there looking in the same mirror, and I've turned into my metaphorical reflection. It's so strange. But it was funny because I walked in there with my mom. My mom was with me, and we walked past the front desk with the lady, and it was obviously a different lady than was there 10 years ago. And so she was looking at me so weird because I was just walking in there, and I'm just looking around really dramatically, and I'm like, this is so weird. And she's probably who is this person?
That's awesome, though. That's really cool. I love how you
Thank you.
started out with. You started out just doing the little cassette tapes, which just brings me back. The little cassette tapes, just recording yourself.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm 20. Like, I'm not like, I wasn't around when cassette tapes were big. I just still love cassette tapes. Like, sometimes I just like sit in my room and I like have my little cassette tape player and I'm just like record myself like saying random stuff, and just that like freedom of I can say whatever I want. And the fact that it is a cassette tape and it is, I mean, I like retro things anyway. Like, I literally, like, I dress like it's the 90s. Like, I like 90s clothes. But anyway,
Okay,
like,
that's
besides that, it's just like very freeing to me to like record myself on there because I feel like I can say whatever I want because it is a cassette tape and it's not something that like can be shared with the world. Like,
Yeah.
shows like this I love because just the opposite, I can share them with everybody and I can tell everybody like, tune into this thing, I'm on it, and it's like this big deal. But it's also really fun to have this little cassette tape that there's no way you can like put that on the internet because it's something from the 80s, you know. And so like you can really say whatever you want and you can show it to people if you want. You can be like, hey, listen to this tape, like I'm on it. Like, me and my cousin Tiara, hi Tiara if you're listening, we used to make little cassette tapes of us like acting out little skits. Like, one time we were looking at a catalog one time, and there was like an anniversary card that you could buy in the catalog, and it was like little kids posing as like a married couple, and we thought it was super funny, and so we went on my cassette tape and made like a little improv skit that was like 10 minutes of my cousin was playing the little kids and I was playing their marriage counselor, and they were like these two little kids that wanted to get married, and I don't remember ever laughing that hard in my life, you know, like just they bring so many memories because of stuff like that. I mean, I was like 13, but I was like peeing my pants. Like, it was so funny.
I love stuff like that, especially when you get with the right people and just have fun being silly, so to speak, just doing little silly things, especially, again, with the cassette tapes as a kid, and just, it brings back I'm 33, so it brings back so many memories to me. Like, growing up, I'll say, for example, listening to the radio back then. Growing up listening to the radio, you'd have to request a song you wanted to hear. They didn't play it 60 times a day within the hour, and we'd record them on these cassette tapes.
Oh my gosh, my mom literally like says the same thing like all the time because you know how people like have YouTubers that they like to listen to? Like, I'm not one of those people. Like, I don't really subscribe to like quote unquote like YouTubers, but I go on YouTube to look at like songs and music videos and stuff like that because I'm like in my car and I'm listening to a song and I really like it, so then I like look on YouTube and like find the song and listen to it like a million times, and my mom like sees me do that and she's like, we never had this like luxury in the 80s. Like, we had to record it on the cassette tapes. I'm like, I still use my cassette tapes, man.
That's good though. That's really good. And what about VHS movies? Have you watched those?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not one of those millennials that are like, what's that? Yeah, I mean, I have some of those. I think I don't really have like a working VHS player is the thing, but I think I used to. I think I might have one that works, actually. I have a lot of like old Disney films on VHS, like Snow White and like Sleeping Beauty and stuff like that I used to watch when I was younger. I haven't watched a VHS tape in forever though.
Me either. But I do like VHS still, even though I haven't watched them in years, for horror, just because of the gritty graininess of it. I know that's just how they looked. Yeah. But it puts more of a fear into the movie than the beautiful Blu-rays, which I do love because you like seeing that crisp, clear. Especially like when I watch like an older movie, I'm like, oh, I don't remember seeing that before on this old tape. But
yeah, I guess DVDs are like old-fashioned too now because I was talking to this girl recently, and she's like, do they still make DVDs? And I'm like, what? Like, of course they do. And she's like, I mean, like the new releases, do they come out on DVD? And I'm like, yeah, like they totally do. And she had no idea. And everybody's really, really surprised that I listen to CDs. Like, I just say that really nonchalantly. I'm like, hey, like, I bought this American Author CD or whatever, and they're like, you still have a CD? I'm like, it's a CD. Like, it's not a record. I do have a record, though. It's the Kiss Me Kate album, but I don't have a record player, so that's kind of, like, no point. But I have a lot of CDs, and people are like, what? Like, why do you still have CDs? I'm like, well, because I like them, and it's kind of cool because you can just have, like, your little thing with like a certain amount of songs on there, and sometimes it's just good to be limited. Like, I like things that are unlimited, but sometimes you should be like, if you went to an arcade and okay, this is funny. I had this little game when I was younger, like I still have it, and it has like wishes on it on little cards, and then you put the cards in order of like how much you'd want whatever was on it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cards says unlimited tokens to your favorite arcade, and I really liked that card, but I remember when I was little, I got a pen and I crossed out the word unlimited because I was just like too much to think about. I was like, this card is just going to say tokens to your favorite arcade. It's not going to say unlimited. Like, I think sometimes you should be limited.
I agree. I do agree. And again, I can go back with movies as far as like trying to find a movie on Netflix. You'll spend about 2 hours trying to find a freaking movie on Netflix versus, okay,
yeah, there's so many options.
I have, again, me growing up, I would go to the video store, rent a movie. You do have a lot of options, but it's not like unlimited. You have, and then if you want to break it down to a certain genre, like, okay, I just want to get a horror movie. There's only X amount of horror movies in that video store.
Yeah, it's like what's in the store. Yeah.
You go, okay, this case looks cool. Let me grab this one. Now with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and everything else out there, like, okay, well, you literally, it's damn near unlimited.
Yeah. You know what I like about those newer platforms to watch films on is, like, I mean, any casting director will say this too. It's given actors so many more opportunities and more actors opportunities because there used to just be like a few TV channels and like the movies in the theater or whatever, and so there's only so many films that are made and less actors had opportunities because there's only so many films that are made every year. But now it's like with Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime and like, I mean, I've heard of things coming out on Snapchat, and there's just so many platforms now that more filmmakers get opportunities to make their stuff and more actors get opportunities to be in them because there's so many more films and TV shows now because of all those platforms. So I'm really lucky that I'm this age in like this time era as an actor because it's like easier to be an actor than I think it would have been back when there's only like a couple of film studios.
I agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. You're right. There's that. There's even YouTube. Like when people make the fan-made films on YouTube, that's another.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Big source. Which I think it's awesome. I really do.
Yeah.
I just look at it as a perspective of trying to find something to watch, like lay down and just watch something and relax. And sometimes you spend more time doing that than you do watching the actual movie when you finally find something.
Yeah.
Or me, there'll be times I'm like, okay, let me figure out what I want to watch. Can't figure it out, so I'm like, screw it, I'm just going to watch. I'm a YouTube. I love watching YouTube videos. I'm just going to go back to YouTube and just watch these random videos because I can't figure out what I want to watch.
Yeah.
And get all
about it. I
I
like random videos on YouTube. Like that is something that I do watch on there. Like I just love randomness. Like I'm a randomness person. Like I think random stuff is like the funniest stuff. And so I know there's like little tiny videos on there that just don't mean anything. And I'm like, I like the art of something not meaning anything. Like that's awesome. I remember like when I was like 11, I started doing a lot of stuff when I was 11. Apparently, I keep saying that, and I started acting when I was 11 too. So when I was 11, I started like some of my European relatives that I started like writing really random stuff at the bottom of their birthday cards and stuff. Like I'd write them a normal card, and then at the bottom just write like, "Thank you for the wicker calendar" or something like that, and just be super random. And they kept trying to figure it out, and I took it really, really seriously, which made it funnier. And so I still do that. Like at the bottom of their emails, I'm just like, notebook, pen, yes, can we? Or like something like really that doesn't mean anything. They're like, what does this mean? And they try to figure out what it means, and I'm like, literally though, like it doesn't mean anything. It's just random and funny, and there's an art to something that doesn't mean anything.
There really is. That's cool though. That's real cool. You're really, for your age, you're very, very old school, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not the average millennial. It's really funny. Like literally in except for the literally thing. I do say literally too much, which is very 20-year-old. But in high school, which was not that long ago, it was like I graduated in 2017. But I had this friend, and she's still one of my best friends, and she's very like teen codes, like teen lingo, whatever. And so she would like text me and be like, I ship you to BC, I want to do this or whatever. And I'm like, I would literally Google like, what does ship mean? Like, what does BC mean? I'm like, oh, because like, that's super funny. And so now I've kind of like inherited those codes from her. And so my friends that are a lot older than me, that are like a generation or two older than me that I text and stuff a lot, I like I write like BTW or something, and then I like erase it and write like by the way because I don't think they know what I mean.
Text lingo, yeah, I get it. Well, I get some of the lingo. I don't get all the slang that the kids say nowadays, but the lingo, the texting, I still understand that for now.
Yeah, I understand it now. I usually don't have to Google it. Even when I don't know, I don't Google it anymore because, like, my one friend texted me and wrote something IRL, and I was like, IRL. It took me a minute, but then I was like, oh, in real life, like, woohoo.
See, that would have had me stumped because I'm glad you told me that. Like,
oh, now you can know this. I'm educational.
So what got you into acting?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you my elongated story of this because I think it's really interesting. So acting has always like been something that's in me and a part of me, and it's funny because none of my family is actors. Like a lot of my family members are like visual artists. They're all very like my mom and my grandparents are all really really good like painters and sketchers and everything. And they're so talented in that way, but I'm like not like I don't do that type of art. But I've just always loved acting and singing and dancing and these like performing arts. And when I was like 4, I think I was in my room one day and I saw something that had like fallen behind like a little dresser. So I was like, what's this? And I looked at it and it turned out to be like a little kid version of A Christmas Carol. And so my mom read it to me and I was like, hey, I found this book like behind the bookshelf. So she read it to me and it's like a really like basic little kid version of A Christmas Carol. And I loved it and I was like, I have to be in this. Like, I have to act this out on film. Like, this has to be a thing. And so, like, I made my parents, like, got a video camera and act out A Christmas Carol with me. And I had, like, a little ballet skirt, and I put it on my head as, like, a veil. And I'm like, I'm the ghost of Christmas past and whatever. And so I was like, we have to act this out on film, you know? And then just ever since then, I did so many things like that. Like, as a child, I was always wanting to act things out and make little videos and skits and stuff. And in kindergarten, and just throughout school in general, I always felt like an outcast. I never felt like I was the same as the other kids. I never felt like I fit in with them. So in kindergarten, I didn't really know how to handle that, and so I didn't talk at all. And I never said a word to any of the teachers, any of the kids. And then at the end of the year, we had this little play that we did. And all of a sudden, I'm like singing and like being very like outgoing and everything. And it wasn't because I suddenly felt comfortable around the kids. It was just because I loved acting and performing. And I remember, like, I looked at my mom, like, most of the time because I was, like, afraid to look at other people when I was on stage because I was, like, 5 or 6. But then I looked away one time and I just saw this, like, audience of people watching us do this little play. And I remember, like, not being scared and not being embarrassed. I loved it, man. I was like, wow, like these people are being entertained by me, and that's so like special, and that's something that I've taken with me for the rest of my life. And so in like a few years later, I remember this girl, and by this point I never thought like I'm going to be an actor. I just knew that I loved acting things out and singing and performing. And so a few years later, this girl came to school one day with her hair like really curly, and everybody, you know how kids like have to comment if something's different? They're like, why do you have weird hair? Like, why do you have different hair? And so the girl was like, well, I have curly hair because I'm in a play and it's for the play. And then it hit me. I was in like 3rd grade and I was like, oh my gosh, she's in a play. Like, she's an actor. Maybe I should be an actor. Like, maybe that's what I should do. And then so that kind of resonated with me. And then a little bit later, I saw like a flyer for a children's theater play audition. And I had to make sure, I remember that I had to make sure it was in no way affiliated with the school because I really didn't want to do this with the school kids. I didn't have a good experience with school kids, if you can tell. So anyway, I was like, okay, if this doesn't have anything to do with school, I might audition for this thing. And so I did audition for it, and I was cast in it, and I just really, really fell in love with it more than ever before. So I just kept doing that. Then I started getting like leads in the children's theater. I was Alice in Alice in Wonderland when I was 12, and just kind of escalated from there. Then I started doing like adult theater. I did get to do A Christmas Carol for real, which was awesome. Fulfilled my 4-year-old dream. And then I loved theater. I was really happy in theater, but then I was like, it's kind of always been my dream to be in films. So I didn't really know how to start with that, and I had a hard time getting an agent at first because they're very into how much experience you already have. And so I started doing extra work in films and did quite a handful of films as an extra and featured extra, just like background work, you know.
Yeah.
So I did that for a while, and then I did sign with an agency and start getting like little minor characters in feature films and leads in short films, which was great. And then now I have better representation and LA representation, and this year has been really, really big and different than before, because I've done those like smaller things for the past 4 or 5 years in film, and then all of a sudden this year and last year actually I've been the lead character in 3 feature films, one in Utah, one in California, and one in Las Vegas. So it's been a really big, overwhelming year, but I'm really grateful for it, and I'm super excited for next year because these things are going to come out. So it's kind of escalated, and now I'm like where I want to be in film, and I'm excited to see where else I can go. Like it's been a really crazy journey.
That's awesome though. You're really living out your dream from when you were in elementary school, you could say. And
yeah,
you found your calling in elementary
school. I did,
school,
for sure.
Which is awesome. Cause not many people can say they found their calling in, say, the 2nd or 3rd grade or kindergarten, let alone 25, 30 years old. And you found that. That's amazing though. That's really cool. And
Thank you.
The whole fitting in thing, I get it. Like, because everybody's that wasn't a bad thing. That's cool. That's awesome. And you're like, okay, plays is just like where you opened up, you felt comfortable, you felt this is me, and you knew it at such a young age where.
Yeah, and I remember being like 12 in the kid theater, and I remember being at school in like 6th grade, and I'm just sitting there with the school kids, and I remember just thinking, I'm so excited to go to rehearsal where I can see my real friends, and I'd think of them as the real kids, the real friends, you know, the people that would let me sit with them at the lunch table, and it's great to have something where you feel like that, especially coming from these school experiences where I never felt like I did fit in, and now as an actor especially, I mean, I felt like I fit in theater, but especially as a film actor, like everybody's so incredibly supportive, and I'm just so lucky to be in an industry of such amazing people that I do feel like I fit in with. And not only that, but I feel like everybody is so different from each other. Every film actor, theater actor as well, but mostly film actor, every film actor that I know is so different from each other, and they don't try to be like each other. We all like celebrate each other's differences, and I think it's really cool. And like it is a weird industry to be in, like, you know, especially at the level that I've gotten to in it. There's some drama and some weird experiences have happened to me in the film industry, but for the most part it's been very, very positive, and I've been really lucky to work with some really fantastic people.
That's cool though. I mean, it's gonna happen as far as, you know, the different people you're around, but you get so many different experiences with it. And then me with the whole podcasting thing and really being in the horror community is so freaking welcoming. Real, like, open arms. They're just like, come on, come talk about these movies, come do this with us, come.
Yeah.
The cons. I don't know if you've ever been to a convention or not, but if you ever get a chance to go to a horror convention, do it. Definitely do it. It's a great opportunity. It's fun. Great place to network too. But everybody there is a fan. Like, I feel I've been to those, and I've been to like small Comic Cons. I feel more with the horror ones. Everybody wants to be there. Like, everybody 100% wants to be there. I feel with the Comic Cons, and I can be wrong, but I feel with the Comic Cons, it's more like, say if a couple goes, for example, if the boyfriend's really into it, the girlfriend was kind of dragged, or vice versa. Like, they don't really want to be there. They're going to show support. But horror, it's so much different. It's so welcoming. And, I mean, you got the fan-made films now. You got the indie films. And it's just, you got the indie podcasts like this and many other ones. It's fun. It's real fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was invited to be on an interview at FanX like a couple months ago, but I was in California shooting a film at the time. But I was like, I told the guy, like, ask me again. Like, I would love to do that. Like, I would love to do that, but didn't work on that time. And this FanX as well, the one in Salt Lake where I live, I'm going to be, this one I was like, oh, I'm going to be available now. And I'm not. I'm going to be in North Carolina shooting a another film over this one, but maybe next time I could be interviewed there because I think that would be a really cool experience.
That's cool. That's real cool. I mean, and I like how with you, you're so open to going on other shows or whatever the case may be, just to get yourself out there. And
yeah, I think it's fun.
That's the right attitude. That's a great attitude to have. I think a lot of people, I'm not sure if you're one of these people, a lot of people are nervous to come on. Like, I've had people come on this show, and I talked to them beforehand, like I was with you earlier, just to kind of gauge, let them know they can be comfortable, just relax. It's like just, again, hanging out with your friends, just talking. You don't have to.
Yeah.
This isn't like a professional interview like the ones you see on TV and YouTube. No, it's not like that at all. It's just a good time. But you seem relaxed, like right from jump, which is great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've only been on one of these before. I've only done one of. I mean, I've done like on-set interviews and stuff, but as far as like radio shows and podcasts and talk shows go, I've only done one other one, and that one I was a little more scared. But this one it's different because I've like the time between that one and this one has really been the time that I'm really realizing that I don't want to fit in and I want to be different, and that has really like freed me because my whole life I've always felt like I could just do whatever and be whoever I want around people that I know really well, but like people that I don't know as well, I felt like I had to make them think I was normal and make them think I was cool and whatever. But now I'm like, I've always wished that I had that kind of freedom around people that I know really well. Like, I wish I had that in my life around anybody. And then I was like, the only person who's preventing me from having that is me by being scared to talk to them. And so I'm giving myself that freedom now, and I'm like, I don't care if they think I'm weird. Like, I'm just gonna be me, and if they don't like it, then that's their prob.
Exactly. I'm the same way as far as like not caring what people think about me. That's on them. And again, another thing you're realizing at a really young age, which is great, that you can't really care about what others feel, what others say, who cares? Just be yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I used to, and even like a few months ago, just like the concept of saying something that was different than everybody else in the room was like really scary to me, because I mean, like, for example, like, I don't drink coffee because I'm from Utah, and I'm like around a lot of LDS people who don't drink coffee, and also I just don't think it like sounds like it would be good for you because it has like 1 million ounces of caffeine in it. But anyway, like, I go to LA or somewhere to shoot something, and everybody in LA is like, we have to have coffee and alcohol at all times. And so I'm like, I used to be so scared to even just say, like, I've never had coffee. I used to be like, oh my gosh, I can't say that. Like, that's so weird. They're going to think that's so weird. And I'm like, now I can just, like, that doesn't even sound scary to me. You know, if everyone's drinking coffee and they're like, do you want coffee? I can just be like, no, I don't drink coffee. And if they're like, that's weird, I'm going to be like, oh, well, like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't drink it either. I just don't like it. So you're not missing out on any. Yeah. I've tried it a couple times. It's for me to have to drink it. For me to drink coffee, I have to put a bunch of creamer in it, a bunch of sugar in it. And like, if I'm gonna do all that, I might as well just drink some juice or something else that I actually enjoy instead of this.
Yeah.
Tea I love, but coffee no.
Oh yeah, I don't like tea either. I don't know what it is. I feel like tea is too thin. I know that seems really weird because I like water, and water's obviously thin, and soda's thin, but I just feel like tea's like, it's like in the negatives, like it's like -3 on thinness. I don't know why. Like, I honestly have only had it one time, because when I was shooting, I don't know what I'm allowed to say about the film, so I'm not going to say what film this is, but I was shooting a film recently, and I was going to say, my character said the tagline of the film, which I was so excited about, and I waited the whole production to have this scene where I get to say the tagline of the film, and I got sick, and I lost my voice, like, almost completely the day we were shooting that, and I was like, oh, crap, and so, obviously, like, we had all these day players there, we had all these people ready to shoot this big title scene, and I couldn't say the line because I didn't have a voice, and so they were trying to give me like ginger tea to get my voice to come back, so I drank it for that reason, but I didn't like it. I drank it to remedy that problem, but I was like, this is like -3 on thinness.
Okay, in tea's defense, the flavor you drank wasn't the best flavor. There's so many like fruit flavors. There's so many different flavors.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
And then
I think
like,
they just thought that ginger would help the
the
throat
voice,
thing.
it may have. And then like I'm even. It's funny we're talking about coffee and tea. But
Yeah.
I'm even to the point now, like with when I have tea now, I try to stay away from like 'cause I used to put a ton of sugar in my tea, so I try to stay away from that, and I use honey now, which is good. Honey and lemon.
Yeah. I think we might have put honey in it, or I was like just eating the honey plain because of the throat thing. But it was funny because I remember they wanted me to. The director was like giving me the honey, and he wanted me to like put my spoon out, and I put it out like all straight, and he's like pouring the honey, and it was like Mary Poppins, like we're gonna like put this medicine on the spoon.
Yep.
But it was weird honey though. It had like little bits in it. I don't know what it was. It was a weird day. I'm like, come on, I've been waiting so long to say this tagline.
That's good though.
I don't know if it's the tagline, honestly. It's just like it's one of the big lines in the film.
That's cool though. So now, are you a big horror fan or?
Yeah, I mean, I like to do it. I like to act in horror.
Okay.
I do enjoy horror films, but not slashers, not like 80s horror films.
Oh.
Like I like psychological horror a lot.
Okay.
I really like it as an actor because I really like dramatic acting, and it's kind of you can't really get more dramatic than psychological horror. So I really love doing it as an actor.
I respect that. Slashers are my favorites, but it's not for everybody. I get it. But I do really enjoy the psychological stuff. I enjoy, the paranormal movies now and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure you did watch this, but I'm going to ask anyways. Did you watch The Evil Down the Street?
Yes, I did.
How'd you feel about that movie?
I thought it was awesome, and it was really cool to see David and Craig's other work because I worked with them in The Crumbs, and it was really cool to like see another film that was made by them. Was awesome because I didn't see it till after I had wrapped The Crumbs, and so it was really cool to see another thing that they made and see some other of my Crumbs fam in it.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's good though. That's good. And I remember I made a post on one of Craig's things. I know you were one of the first ones to respond about coming on the podcast, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy. I was real happy about that. And then the funny thing is no lie, not too long after that, Craig messaged me. He's like, Aaron, can you call me? I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, look, I appreciate it, all that stuff, what you did for the last movie as far as helping us promote it and getting us on the podcast. He's like, with Crumbs, which I know just either he's like, can you push back the interviews? And I told him, I was like, what I can do is like I can have them come on and kind of introduce themselves and all that good stuff, and we won't discuss Crumbs as far as mention the name, but no discussion of Crumbs. He said when it comes out, when it's closer to it coming out, then I want to really promote it, which I understand. I do understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
That. But it's just cool. I like how, I guess now with the techie age, the technology and all this good stuff, versus what we were talking about earlier, is we get a chance to do this. We don't even have to be in the same city, the same country, let alone to do this interview and all that, which is great. This podcast and just, again, you get to promote yourself on here, and you're doing a great job so far.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny with like not being allowed to talk about certain things because acting is a very large part of my life, and I'm on set a lot of days. And like it's funny because I sign all these non-disclosure agreements for these films, and it's kind of like it's like really funny because a lot of times I can't talk about just general stuff that happens to me in my life because it pertains to what we were filming, what scene we were doing, who was there, and like it's like I have like a small group of people that I let myself tell things to. You know who you are, small group of people. But like it's funny because just general people, I can't say stuff like, yeah, yesterday this happened, or I was doing this, and just say normal life stuff because it's like this top secret thing. It's really funny.
No, you're good with it though, as far as like not letting anything slip out, which is good. It's professional, and then it helps you get more roles, I'm sure, later on. Like, hey, we can let her go out and do these interviews. She's not going to say too much about the movie. That's good. So have you? I know you said you have films coming out next year. Do you have anything out that's out now, or?
Yeah, I do, but most of it is like short films and like day player roles in feature films.
Mhm.
But the the leads and features that I'm in are all coming out next year, which I don't know how much I can say about them, but I can say the titles. I'm in a thriller called The 13th Cross that's coming out next year, and obviously The Crumbs, and a supernatural horror film called Abigail Haunting.
Ooh,
And I'm really excited about all of those. It's going to be a really, really cool year. Like, 2020 is going to be awesome. The Roaring Twenties are coming again.
that's awesome. That's really awesome. I like the titles of those too. I can't wait to see
Yeah, I
those
do too.
myself. I cannot wait to see those myself, and hopefully you'll come back on to promote those 3 movies.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
That's great. That's great. I'm trying to think what else we could really discuss. Because I know you can't say too much about the movies, which it's tough in a sense, but
I know
I
it's so
understand it.
hard. It's like literally so hard not to say things. Because sometimes I just want to be like, yeah, when we were shooting this ending scene where this happens, I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
say that because that's gonna give away the end of the movie.
But again, like I said, it's real cool how you found your calling so young and you're really still passionate about it. Like you didn't change your mind at all. Now, did anybody ever try to steer you out of it? Like, hey, you're not gonna be able to do this, or why do you want to do this type of deal?
Not really, honestly, which is awesome. That's what was really cool, and what I really like that my family was always. They never told me you have to get a normal job, like they never said that. So I'm really glad that they were always very supportive of it. Um, Let me think. I mean, there were a couple like teachers in school of course. There were a couple teachers in school that like they didn't really say like you can't do that, but they kind of acted like actor, okay,
Yep.
But I mean, most of the time, honestly, in school, I just acted like I had another career path and I'm gonna go to this college and whatever, just to like make them be quiet for a second. But really, I'm just like doing my thing. But yeah, I think I've been really lucky with the people in my life. They are they're very encouraging of me acting and want to see my stuff, and they're never like, hey, you need to do something more practical, which is great.
No, that's good. They're letting you follow your dream, and so far it looks like you're doing good with it, which is great. Now, with your roles, I'm not going to ask you about the roles, but I'm sure with your 3 different movies, there's 3 different types of roles.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is it hard to get into the mindset for each role? Like, do you have to be, for example, some actors I've talked to, let's say they have to be like alone for that day or whatever, like just away from people, just to kind of get. If it's a negative mindset they have to be in, they have to be away from people and just kind of.
No, I'm not really one of those actors. Like, acting is something that comes naturally to me, and when I was younger and acted, I would just let myself, just ease into every character and do it at, however I wanted. I didn't need any specific type of preparation except for, the obvious, like, you think about the character, you think about their backstory, you think about the dialogue and what it means and what's underneath the dialogue, But, like, I never really needed any, like, big specific type of preparation. And then as I got into, like, my mid-teens, I started hanging out with these, like, really amazing actors on all these film sets and stuff that had a big routine that they would have to do to get into every character. And so that's when I started thinking about it harder, which made it harder for me because I'm not really that type of actor. I can just, like, I said on the other talk show I was on, like, I like to jump in and out of my characters like I jump in and out of a bed at like a sleepover, like I like to just do it very casually, but thinking about it really hard kind of made it harder for me because I would like over prepare and it just made it a lot harder. So now that's something that I've definitely learned from doing these 3 films with bigger roles is everybody again is different, every actor is different, and I don't have to prepare the same way as other actors do, even though those actors are really, really brilliant, and I really admire and look up to these people that I'm talking about, but, like, I don't have to do the same type of preparation that they do in order to get into a character, and that's fine, we can be different. So, yeah, I definitely think very deeply about my characters, and it's kind of like I kind of feel like I'm friends with the character, but I also feel like I am that person, and it's like it's really strange. So I definitely think about them on a very deep level and read. I know the script inside and out, and I talk to the director ahead of time about exactly what they want and who this person is and everything. But like I just let myself slide into that character that day on set and don't do anything really too specific ahead of time to get my mindset there. The mindset comes from the context that's around me and the environment that's around me on the film set.
That's good. That's awesome. That's it's I like that question though, just because everybody has a different answer for it, and
Yeah, that's a great question.
yours is just kind of in and out, and it's good. It's good. I guess it's good you could turn it on and off whenever you feel you need to or want to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh man, you see, you're a good interviewer because you answer like a bunch of questions before I can even think of them.
Oh.
which is great because it makes it easy for me in a sense. And only hard part is I'm like, all right, what didn't she say yet that I can ask about? But you told me you started when you were a kid and just what really got you into it, what you love about it, and I respect that. That's cool. Okay, I got one. What horror movie do you like?
Okay, I got one.
Like I know you told me a specific type, but what's the specific movie you do like in the horror genre?
Oh, that's a great question. I think my favorite horror movie is The Conjuring. I really like that because I like James Wan a lot. When I tell people that I want to be in a James Wan movie, they think that I'm saying James Bond movie, which would also be fun, but I would love to be in a James Wan movie.
That would be cool.
I like The Conjuring because it's really scary without like profanity and stuff, you know, like there's very little blood, there's very little swearing, and I don't know if there's any swearing in that movie. It's just like, and it's still rated R just because of like how creepy it is, and I think like that's awesome. Like if you can make a movie that's rated R just by the genre, like just by how creepy it is, like that's a great horror filmmaker. So I think it was really well acted and really well shot. I also like Crimson Peak a lot.
I don't think I've seen that one. I know I did see the Conjuring movie though.
Really good.
Did you see the sequels of Conjuring 2 and all that too? And
yeah, I did. I actually auditioned for The Conjuring 2.
Really?
Which is cool. Yeah, I auditioned for. I was 16 at the time playing. I was auditioning for the 14-year-old daughter, like the older daughter. Named, I think, like Margaret or something. So that was fun. I got to do an audition and act like I was playing with a Ouija board and stuff.
That's cool.
That's cool. I'm glad I had a chance for that. I didn't get called back or anything, but it's cool that I auditioned for it. That's kind of what got me into the Conjuring franchise and stuff, because I hadn't seen The Conjuring until I was auditioning for the second one. And I was like, I should probably watch the first one for context. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, very, very great actors in it.
Yeah, those movies, I really like that franchise. The Conjuring movies, the Nun, the Annabelle movies.
Yeah.
Are you all caught up on all those movies? The Nun and the Annabelle, the three Annabelles, or?
I think so. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen the first Annabelle, but yeah, I've definitely seen them.
That's cool. See, that right there is a really good, as you were saying, is a really well done franchise, especially the two Conjuring movies. Those two.
Yeah.
Are probably some of my favorite ones that have came out, favorite horror movies that have came out recently, because they did great on them. And the whole clapping thing I thought was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife jumped in the theaters, but I enjoyed it. I really, really I don't know if it was that movie that got me really into like the paranormal type of movies or what that got me into really like loving them. I just liked them at the time. But it's, like you said, they did them so great. It was almost a perfect
they're
movie.
really, really well made.
And then that's cool that you said you auditioned for the second one.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Your opportunity is going to come when it comes to those type of movies. It'll come in due time.
Yeah.
How is it being on, as far as going for an audition? Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it entail? I don't know what the word is.
I think
but
so. Well, this isn't the norm, but do you want to hear about the casting process for a movie I did called Abigail Haunting that's coming out next year? Because that was very extensive.
Yeah.
So this is the story of me auditioning for that movie. So Okay, so I found out about this movie. It's psychological, supernatural horror.
Mm-hmm.
Loved what I had read about it. So I initially sent them a demo reel and they liked it. So they sent me some sides and I did a video audition. And it was funny because the lead character that I was reading for, originally on the character breakdown, it said they wanted somebody like 25 to 30 with like long dark hair. So I'm like 19 auditioning for this with like light brown hair. It's like not super long, but I'm like, I'm just gonna audition anyway. So I did this monologue and then a couple dialogue scenes and sent that to them as a video audition. And I really thought it was a long shot. I probably wouldn't hear back because I heard that there were so many people auditioning for this. And so then I get an email from my agent and they're like, they'd like to see you again to do a callback. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, hey, that's awesome. And so they send me some more sides and I do like 5 more scenes and send it to them. And then I get another email from my agent, and they're like, now they want to Skype with you. And I was literally like jumping around my house because I was like, okay, like they're very interested. And so I Skype with them, do a couple more scenes for them, and then they're like, I get this email from, I think it was from like the director himself, and he's like, so we love what you've been doing, but these have all been very like dark scenes, and we don't know if you can be like innocent and lighthearted. And I'm like, do you know to whom you are speaking? Because I'm known for being innocent, but it makes sense because I've been trying to be older and darker for this whole audition process. So then I send them another one, I do it lighter, and it's a lighter scene. I send that to them, and then I'm like, okay, like this is it, they're gonna offer me the part. And then they're like, so we shot the film in Las Vegas, but we were originally going to shoot it in Colorado. So they flew me to Denver to do like, I hung out with some of the crew for like 2 days, and then I had like a 6-hour callback chemistry read thing in a acting studio in Denver. And so I'm just doing this thing, and this is like a 4-story acting studio. It was really fun, really cool. And so we're like a few hours into it, and back to my story.
Yep.
So, can you hear me okay on this?
Yeah, you're good. You're fine.
Okay, hold on. I can't really hear you very well. Okay. Oh well, we'll wing it. Anyway, so I went to Denver and I was a few hours into this chemistry read thing, and the director was just kind of walking around, and then he leans down and says, I'm going to make this official. Welcome to the cast, and shakes my hand. And I was like really, really excited and trying to act cooler than I was. And it was really, really an exciting moment. And it was a really fun, it sounds like really long and extensive, but it was a really fun audition process. Like I liked that a lot.
That's cool. That's cool. That's just because that's one question I need to start asking is about the whole audition process, because I know nothing about it at all, and I'm just so interested in it because it's like, how do you guys get these roles, and how do you get chosen to be in these movies?
Yeah, it's a crazy thing.
It really is. And do you get, now with these auditions, do you get nervous with it, or you just kind of go in there like, I'm good?
I used to get nervous. I would act like I wasn't nervous, but I used to get super nervous. Like my legs would literally be like shaking in the auditions. But it's just I've been acting for so long that I'm kind of decentralized to it now. I don't really get nervous anymore. It's just like I think I've kind of learned that casting is very subjective. It's really easy, especially when you're younger, to think like you go to an audition and you don't get it, and it's really easy to just think, oh, I wasn't good enough for that part. But really, that's never the case. It's always we wanted somebody taller or shorter or looks different for whatever reason, or is this type of actor or that type of actor, And even if you're not able to give them the type of acting that they want, it's not because you aren't good enough. It's just because you're not that type of actor.
Yeah.
And so I think now that I'm a little bit older and not like a little kid and I can understand that, it makes it a lot easier to go into auditions.
That's good, though. It's just, look at it. It's not, this role's just not for you or whatever, and go on to the next.
Yeah, exactly.
That's still cool, though. I'm just so fascinated about how you started so young and just stuck with it at such a young age, because it's very rare for someone to figure it all out at a young age like that. It's, I love it. I really do.
Oh, thank you.
You you deserve a lot of credit for stuff like that. That's cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't know what do you want to be asked?
That's up to you. That's up to you.
What was that?
No, I said that's up to you.
Okay. What is your favorite soda?
Soda? If I were to drink a soda, oh, that's a good question. I'm not a big soda drinker, but I guess I'm gonna say root beer. Root beer is probably my favorite soda.
Well, hold on, sorry. I was doing this on my computer, and then my computer is being dumb, and so now I'm doing it on a phone, and I can't really hear you. What was that?
Root beer.
Oh, yeah, root beer is a good one. Root beer is one of my favorite sodas. I also like Sprite and Orange Fanta.
Oh, see, I like those too, and grape and strawberry Fanta, all those. But root beer is like
I
my
don't
go-to.
think I've had the other types of Fanta.
You said you never had any other types of Fanta?
I think I've just had the Orange Fanta.
Oh, you got it.
I'm trying to get this thing back on my computer, and now it's like not working because I can't really hear you on the phone.
Okay. I can pause the recording if you want while you mess with that. That's no problem.
I'm just restarting it, so I think we can keep going for now.
Okay. No problem. So what kind of soda? What was I going to ask you next? The soda question has to be thrown off.
It's such a deep question.
Do you have, all right, acting and all that, do you have like a go-to snack or go-to drink? Let's say food and snack before you go on a movie set, or do you just kind of go there?
Well, before I go to a movie set, I don't really have a specific thing because we're on set for like 14 hours a day mostly, and so it starts really early in the morning, and I can't really eat a lot early in the morning because my stomach hurts if I do.
Yep.
I used to, when I was younger and I had a lot less auditions, it was my tradition to eat Skittles before I went to the audition because I thought they were lucky, but now I don't do that because I have like way too many auditions to like eat Skittles before all of them. But, I mean, if I had like a food that if I need like extra luck, I eat like frosting because frosting is like the most miracle tasting thing ever. But I don't know, cheese or like what I really like I like to be on set early in the morning because that's when the best food is. Like the best crafty food is in the morning because it's like cinnamon rolls and stuff, which is awesome. I'm a big like pastry person, so
Cinnamon rolls are good. I love cinnamon rolls myself. Frosting, yes. Cheese, I'm not. See, with cheese, I have to have it with like, say, for example, if I have a grilled cheese sandwich, there has to be some sort of meat on it. I can't just have a piece of cheese. I like it, but I don't love it. I'm not that excited about cheese.
Yeah, I honestly would rather have the cheese than the meat. Like a lot of times, I don't want the hamburger and I just want like the bun and the cheese. But see, that's another thing. I used to be like really worried about that. I was like I would go to people's barbecues and get that and like hide it. And I'm like, I don't need to hide it. Like I can have my cheese. It's fine.
You can. And even more so nowadays, people are like, "Don't eat meat, eat this," and you're good with that one.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks I'm a vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not like super into meat.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's like, why aren't you eating that? Like, why aren't you eating that? I'm like, because I don't really like the texture of hamburgers that much. I like hamburger meat if it's like spread out in a taco.
Okay. Understandable. I'm a texture person when it comes to food at times. I just ate oatmeal for the first time in like 3 years earlier today because the texture would always bother me. So
I'm like that with pumpkin pie. I love pie, like especially like chocolate cream pie. It's delicious, but I don't really like pumpkin pie because of the texture.
Understandable. I get that 100%. It makes perfect sense to me. Some people, when I say stuff about texture, they just look at me like I'm nuts. I'm like, no, look, it can smell good, it can even taste kind of good, but the texture's all weird. I'm not gonna even eat it. Forget it. If you can, is there? Hang on, let me think of this. If you can work with any director, who would it be? Like any, real big name director, who would you choose?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, James Wan is definitely up there. Not James Bond,
Yes,
but James Wan. Also, I'd love to work. He's more of a writer and not a director, but I think he has directed. I'd love to work with Aaron Sorkin because I love dialogue. Like, dialogue is so fun. Like, really hard, difficult dialogue that kind of overlaps each other. I love that type of acting, and I love that type of writing. So I'd love to work with Aaron Sorkin one day.
That's cool. Do you have any?
Well, there's a lot of great directors. Who is the other one? I know there's. Oh, you know who I'd love to work with? I'd love to work with Guillermo del Toro.
Nice. Are you interested in writing at all? As far as
Not really. I used to like writing little skits and stuff when I was younger, but that doesn't really interest me now. I like acting because I can take somebody else's idea and make it my own, and I feel like if I wrote it, then it's mine to start with. So that kind of, I wouldn't get that magic of taking somebody else's idea and making it my own, you know?
No, that's a good answer, though. I like that. You're being honest with it. What about sitting behind the camera directing? Are you just like...
Honestly, I don't. I don't think I would enjoy that because I would kind of be afraid to, like, tell everybody what to do. Like, wait, are you still there? Now my phone went down.
Oh, yeah, I'm still there. I just put it on
okay, good.
audio.
Yeah, I think that would kind of scare me to have that much power. Like, one sec, I'm still trying to fix this thing so I can talk to you on the bigger one. But anyway,
no problem.
I am really bad at decisions, and I know directors have a lot of decisions, and I really admire directors because they can handle all that, and all the directors that I've worked with have had such great visions for their films, and I really admire them, but I don't think that I could be in that chair, so to speak, because I don't think I can handle all the direction, all the decisions. Yeah. And again, like, I really like taking somebody else's vision and their idea and making it my own and how I want to do it. And I think it would be a lot harder for me to have it start out with, this is my vision, this is my project. I like to be on board of other people's projects and help them with their vision and not have it be my vision. I don't know how good my vision would be.
You never know. What about, have you ever done improv?
Oh, I don't really like improv. I'm a dialogue person. I really like having a script.
Yeah.
And you know what is fun though is doing improv with like some kind of base. Like, I've done that before where, like, this is the scripted scene and then you can add stuff and, like, kind of change things up. Like, I can do that. That's a lot of fun, actually. But I really like the dialogue, and I like the rehearsal process of, like, getting a scene exactly perfect with the words and the overlapping the other characters and all that. I think it's really fun. So I'm not one for too much improv, but I have done it before, especially where, like, we do have a base to go off of. Like, this is generally the idea that we're going for, and then you can just add stuff. I do enjoy doing that. I think it's fun.
Okay. Do you find it hard to do the improv, or you just...
Well, yeah, I do, because I mean, again, I'm an actor. It's not my movie, it's their movie, and so sometimes I'm like, the things I think of to say, I'm like, would the character say this? Would they want the character to say this? You know, like, I just want to do justice to the writer and their director. It is their story, and I feel like if I add some kind of line in there that they don't think that character would say, then that puts a little mark on their vision. And also, it's just like, you have to be so comfortable in your surroundings to be able to improv, I think. And where I'm like just getting to that point where I'm like, okay, like, I can say that I don't drink coffee, you know, like, I think that's why it's hard for me to improv, because you have to be so, like, comfortable with yourself and comfortable with everybody around you and what they're going to think, because improv it's all you know, so maybe one day that'll be easier, but right now it's not my favorite thing.
That's cool though. I was just wondering about that, because I know I enjoy watching acting in general, as far as watching improv, scripted, anything. I think it's all. I'm just amazed by it because I'm like, these people go on here, whether it be a play, a movie, whatever it is. Even like the Vine videos and the YouTube videos you see where these people are acting out these little scenes, little 5-minute scenes. That takes some hard. That really takes a lot of hard work, and I know that. I know that just from watching the things. I'm like, okay, this little 5-minute scene they did. They probably took about 4 hours to do this little bit because you have to say the line's 100% perfect. You have to have the right angle, the right camera shot. If it's comedy, you can't laugh through it. If it's something where it has to be, where like the video's funny, but you're trying to act serious in the video, you can't laugh during it. So that, I'm sure reshoots and all that have to be a thing. I'm sure it could be annoying. It could be fun at times, but I'm sure reshoots have to be annoying at times. How is that for you?
Reshoots?
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting with like the environment really. Like I shot this film one time and we shot it in like January in Utah, so it was like really, really cold, and then we did the reshoots in June in Utah, which were like really, really hot. And so I think it's just interesting to see how things around you have changed. And I don't know, I'm not like annoyed by them because it's fun to go back to the set and see everybody again, especially like pickup shots are usually not like a big emotional scene that you're redoing. It's like, we need to get this insert, we need to redo this, like where we're cutting somebody's throat. Happened to me before. Like they're like that throat cutting didn't look natural. We got to come back and reshoot it. But yeah, I'm not like bothered by those. I can see why they're necessary, and it's good to. I mean, you always want to do the work to. By the way, hold on, let me finish my sentence. It's always better to do the work that you may not want to do than to like not have a perfect movie, because you don't want to give people something to comment on, like, yeah, that scene in this movie like was bad, my computer just came back. Can I recall you on the computer now, because it's hard on the phone, I can't really hear you.
Yeah, yep, no problem. But yeah, that's real interesting. Like all the stuff you were just saying, I like that. Like, you really, again, you have that drive. You really know what you want to do. And then as far as the reshoots go, you're saying you love that. You just really love your craft.
Well, I mean, I don't love the reshoots, but I don't mind them.
Okay. But they don't annoy you. I'll say that.
No, they don't annoy me. I can definitely see why they're necessary.
Which is good, because I'm sure there's people that are real negative about, like, oh, we got to do this. We got to do this again. Oh, yeah. And here again, and it's.
Yeah, it is kind of strange to think you're wrapped on a film and then come back and be like, oh, hey, I'm this character again. Like, it's kind of funny.
Yep, but it's, again, it's admirable what you're doing at such a young age. It's really cool to watch, and I just can't wait to see. I can't wait to see your 3 movies coming up, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future, like, say, 5-10 years from now when you're...
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to see that, too.
When you're making these huge movies, I'm like, oh, wow, I had her on my podcast a couple of times. This is awesome. Look at her on the big screen.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's cool, though. I really see you doing something big just because again, you're so positive about it, and you work, from what you're saying, you work so hard on it, and you love what you're doing, and a lot of that helps with, it's not a guaranteed thing you're going to be, say, in Hollywood, for example, but I'm sure that helps a lot without all that, and just knowing what comes in and out of the stuff with movies.
Mm-hmm.
How are your parents going to watch your movies, or have they watched the stuff you've done?
Yeah. My parents like to watch it, especially my mom, is really excited about all these releases. My some of my other relatives don't really want to watch them because they're like my grandparents are very LDS, and so they're not wanting to see R-rated films.
Okay.
So it's funny because I do a lot of genre, so there are a lot of R-rated films, but I did a short film recently that's, I think, PG-13 or even PG. It's not a horror film. It's the one I was telling you about with my pretty dress and stuff, and I'm that they can see. And I'm really excited for them to be able to see it, because so many of the things that I've done that are PG rated, I don't have a very big part in. I have like a line or something, and so it's going to be fun for like all these people to be able to see that because they can see me as a lead character and it's not an R-rated film.
That's good. Yeah, that's
You
good.
hear that a lot though on a lot of these R-rated sets. Everybody's like talking about, yeah, this person can't see it and this person can't see it, and like a lot of people are like, my dad's never gonna see this movie. So it's interesting.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Like I didn't even think about something like that. But as far
Yeah,
as
I get that a lot from people that don't want to see R-rated films. Like I'm like, hey, I'm in this film. They're like, what's it rated? And I'm like, well, R. I mean, I don't go over an R. I don't do anything too nasty. It's just, like there's things that make a film rated R. Like this,
yeah,
a handful of swear words makes it rated R. Even if nothing is, even if there's no profanity or anything in there, if it's just like they swear a handful of times, it's rated R. So there's things that make ratings what they are, and I mean, I'm glad a lot of people can see them, and I'm totally respect the people that don't want to also, and they can see the ones that are rated PG-13.
yeah.
Because I'm sure there will be more of those in the future.
Oh yeah. Especially nowadays, a lot more from I'll say when I was growing up till now. Movies that were quote unquote rated R are like PG-13 now.
Mhm.
And or even a crazier thing is a lot of older horror movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, the original one, and there's a couple other ones that can't come to mind. But originally they wanted to rate these movies X because of the gore in it, which I thought
That's
was
crazy.
strange. Yeah, you'd think it's strange now, but I'm like, I guess I get it. But the way the world's changed now, it'd just be an R-rated movie, or even the I think maybe PG-13 because there wasn't a lot of blood in that one, the original.
Yeah, I definitely don't do X-rated films. I don't do any. I don't even do. I mean, I definitely limit myself at an R, and even within the R rating, like there are certain things that I won't do in a film, so I like make sure those things are in there.
Yeah.
But I my limit's pretty wide, but there are some things that I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, or things that I have done in a film that I'm like, I'm not going to do that again. Like I had a smoking scene in a film, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that again.
now, okay, that's a perfect example right there. With the smoking scene, do they really have you smoking, or how does that work?
Well, the first time I had a smoking scene, I didn't do it, and so they actually had like a smoking double, which is weird, but like, they had it in like, so I think they just showed like her lips or something, and it was somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like holding the cigarette, and then they cut back and forth to me and the other girl that was in the scene, and she was actually smoking, so that worked on that one. And then the second time I had one, I actually was. I didn't like inhale it, but like I actually like smoked. But I'm like, I guess I would do it again depending on the circumstance, depending on like the role in the production. But I mean, I'll try to get out of it. Like, I'd rather not, but I can understand why that would be necessary.
There's nothing wrong. Again, I'm not a director or anything, so I don't know. But I don't think there's anything wrong if there's certain things you don't want to do in a movie in general. Like, look, I don't want to hug any. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't want to hug anybody or kiss anybody unseen. I'm not comfortable with that.
Oh, I've done a lot of that. That's fine.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like if there's certain things that somebody's not comfortable with, I don't think that should be forced. Like, okay, you can't be in this movie because you won't do this, and the third. There's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. There's some people who are comfortable with, like, so to speak, a topless scene or a nude scene. There's a lot who aren't comfortable with that, and either way, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If it's something you don't want to do, you shouldn't have to do that role to be in that movie.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know how it works from being on set when it comes to things like that. I have no clue.
Yeah, usually they'll talk to you about that type of content ahead of time. Like once you've been cast in the film in the pre-production stages, usually they'll like talk to me on the phone or something and be like, okay, there's this rape scene in it. This is what they're going to show. Like, are you okay with this? How far can we go with this? And then you can kind of discuss it and negotiate with them, which is good.
Okay. That's how that works. I never knew. I always thought, I don't know anything about auditions or anything. I'm thinking, I know they wouldn't give everybody the script, but they'd give them like bits and pieces of what's going to happen in the movie maybe, and they have to act something and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been given the full script once in a while when I'm one of the top contenders for a role, but most of the time it's just they call it audition sides and they give you like a scene or a couple of scenes from the film and give you a little bit of pretext and you just act it out for them. Okay. A lot of times it's through self-tape nowadays, like especially doing these out-of-state ones, you record yourself doing the scene and then like at home and then you send it to them, and then there's a lot of live ones too where you go in there and they have you act it out. And from my experience on the live auditions, you kind of know whether or not you're going to get it by how much they have you keep doing the scene. Like when I go to an audition, they're like, oh wow, that was awesome, like do it a little more like this and do it a little more like that, and are you available in June, like whatever, and keep talking to you and keep directing you. Okay, hi, technical difficulties again. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, basically just, if from my experience, if you go to an audition and they keep directing you and keep wanting you to do the scene multiple ways, that's when you know you've got a shot for it. If you just go in there and do it one way and they send you on your way, then I've never got it when that's happened.
Now, you were saying how a couple of times you've gotten the full script, and then most of the time they'll just give you like a little bits and pieces of the script. Now, say if you don't get if you don't get the role, you give that script right back to them. Like you don't take that with you either way.
Well, usually they email it to me, and so it's like not like a physical thing that I have. Okay. But a lot of times I don't like to read the full script before I get cast in the film, because then I get really excited about all the ways that I can do all these scenes, and then I don't get it, and it's like a disappointment. But I do definitely skim through it and look at a couple of the key scenes, so I have pretext for when I go in the audition.
Yeah.
Usually they don't give you the full script though. That's just I've been given it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Well, my question to that, I asked that because I was wondering, do you say you don't get the role? Does that mean, because you're saying they would email you a part of the script or the full script, do you have to delete that? Like, look, you didn't get this, get rid of it?
I've never had to do that. I think it's just, it's an actor thing. I mean, everybody that's auditioning for these types of roles where they would give you the full script and is that far into the audition process where you're one of the top contenders for a role, I think it's just a professionalism thing for everybody. Like, even if you don't get the part, you're still a professional actor and you have to remain a professional actor. Mm-hmm. And so it's just kind of a given, don't share the script around. A lot of times on audition sites, they have a watermark, when you print it out, it'll say your name or something really big on there, so you aren't allowed to use it for anything. I'm making this short film, this is my idea, You're not allowed to do that because it's watermark.
No, that's good though. I was always wondering that. I finally asked the question. I guess it finally came out, but that's I understand. That's very understandable.
Now you know.
Yes, now I know. So thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
Greatly appreciate it. I guess we can wrap this one up, though. I definitely want to have you on again and do this again, because you're definitely
I'd love
great
to.
interview.
When I have when my films are coming out next year, and not my films, but the films that I'm in, when they're coming out next year, I can say more about them and tell you some interesting stories.
I see. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear all the things you can say, the behind the scenes, all that fun stuff that you can.
Yeah, I want to tell that, but I'm not allowed to say these things yet. But I will be. I will be when they're coming out. I think I'll be allowed to say more, which would be good. But yeah, I mean it's fun. At first it's kind of hard to my first couple years in film, it was really hard to not tell people these things that I want to tell them. But now it's easier because secrets are having a secret. This isn't a me quote. I took this from a magazine, but having a secret is like having a gold coin. And if you tell somebody the secret, you're giving away the gold coin and you no longer have it. That's why you can't tell people your secrets. But what you want to do is like show people that you have the gold coin, but then keep it. But that's going to like mess up friendships and stuff. So you shouldn't even do that. But with me, like in the occupation that I'm in, I get to do that, you know, like I get to show people this gold coin and then put it back and not tell them. And I'm like, now it's like easier because I like that I'm able to do that. Like, as much as I want to tell you all about the stories and stuff that I have, it's also pretty cool if you think about it that I can't. So, but I am excited to come back and reveal more, and I really can't wait for you guys to see these films. It's going to be amazing. I'm like ecstatic for next year for these to come out.
Me too. I cannot wait to see these. I can't wait to review them on the podcast, and I can't wait to interview you and other people from the cast of those movies. It's going to be, I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of really, really talented people involved. You're going to have fun interviewing them.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Is there anything else you want to plug before we wrap this up?
I think we've mentioned the main ones.
What about your social medias or anything for people to reach out, or do you?
Oh yeah, sure. I have a regular Facebook account and like a Facebook acting page.
Okay.
And those are both under my name, Chelsea Yurkovitz. And I am also on Instagram as Chelsea Yurkovitz Actress, and then I'm on Twitter as Chelsea J Actress because Yurkovitz is too long to fit on Twitter.
I'm glad you pronounced your last name because I could not figure that out to save my life.
I was thinking, I was wondering how you were gonna say it, and then you're just like Chelsea,
Yep.
and I'm like, oh, you're not even gonna.
I've been doing this like this is probably I've done 70-something. I have 70-something episodes out, and there's been a couple names I tried to pronounce like before I started recording, and I did it wrong, and even recorded it wrong. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not. I don't want to be that audio clip on YouTube that's saying this person's name wrong over and over.
I remember at my high school graduation, they wanted us to like spell out our name phonetically so they could say it right. Mm-hmm. So my last name is pronounced Yurkovitz, but it has a silent J. So phonetically, I wrote it like Yerkavits, and I was like, okay, there's no other way they can say that. And so at the graduation rehearsal, the lady announcing it was like, Chelsea Yurkovitz, because she got like too tied up in the fact that I wrote K-A.
Oh, wow. Oh, man, that's awesome. That is funny. But again, thank you so much for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. I can't wait to see all of the work you do, and keep doing great things. I'm just going to wrap this up, but just stay on Skype for like a couple more minutes, please.
Awesome. Thank you so much. See you later, guys.
And everybody listening, as always, I'll see you.